part in your daily existence by Jews.
I told you yes. Conversation with a
very easy interview. I'm also with, and somebody could say that is racist. And the average person, and I'm just talking to you, I'm trying to be really hearing you out. I don't have any gotcha stuff for you here. It's going to be a very easy interview as we're going through. That's kind of racist.
I agree.
Okay.
But let's remember the context. First of all, you saw that. That's a 3-second clip. 3-second clip, and you can't even see 80% of the screen.
For sure.
Because it's being hidden. Now, you and I both know the way that we talk on a show like this is very, it's like anything. You got to know your audience. Now, that's a 3 a.m. conversation with 18-year-olds. I think that we're all talking about, we're all political people.
By the way, I'm also with you there, okay? Because I'm not one that condones that behavior. I've told my kids, I swear to God, if I ever had a conversation with my boys last week, I said, if I ever hear you use the N-word, I swear to God, you're not going to like what I do to you, okay? They were going to school. My kids were going to school, one of the best schools in Florida that has the highest SAT scores and the highest focus on math. The owner of that school's son says the N-word, who's a white guy, says the N-word. The father who owns the school, the board decides to kick his own son out of his school. Very weird situation that happened. So we're having this kind of a conversation. And one of my kids just went to Yale for 3 weeks for some summer camp that somebody else was holding in Yale. But he goes or comes back slightly different. Language, you're kind of hearing what's going on, right? And I'm 46. I can't judge you because during my time, Instagram didn't exist, Snapchat didn't exist, YouTube didn't exist, phone cameras didn't exist. And let me tell you, there's a lot of stuff we did at nightclubs and Army and videos were on the way we speak at 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe not at this level. I've never said anything like this, but I understand that it's riskier. So at a young age, you have to be aware you're a very smart guy. Mm-hmm. You have to be aware that that kind of stuff gets caught. It's going to make it to public. So one, the responsibility is on you. But two, you have a higher risk you're going through because you're part of the social media family, social media generation that we didn't go through at 46.
Well, and I learned that lesson the hard way, but what is the lesson? The lesson is that this sort of thing, this is how political control is maintained, which is to say that we have a culture where you don't even have to do anything wrong. If you say anything wrong, ever, in public, in private, even if it's not inherently wrong, if it sounds wrong, someone might be secretly recording and use it to make you look bad and then destroy your career or your reputation. And this is enforced selectively. Like, let's keep in mind, take Shapiro, for example. And this is something I pointed out when this happened. When Shapiro was 18 or 19 years old, he wrote an article on Town Hall which said that population transfer is not a dirty word. In other words, meaning we need to take all of the Palestinians and kick them out of Israel. He's advocating for ethnic cleansing on his Town Hall blog. Now, you could say whatever you want about that.
Population transfer?
Yeah, transfer is not a dirty word.
Does that mean ethnic cleansing?
That's what the article defends, yes.
Can you pull it up? I'm curious because I want to be fair.
Okay, cleansing.
Got it.
But here's the point I'm trying to make is that is an extremely controversial statement. I mean, could you imagine if someone said whites and blacks can never live together in America? It's an ugly solution. We got to take all the black people and send them back to Africa.
Right.
That's racist.
Right.
It's racist to say Arabs can't live in Israel. We should remove them all. He wrote that under his name on a blog, but he never got canceled for saying that. But I got secretly recorded when I was 18 in a private conversation, and people say, and he himself quote tweets it and says, this is concerning, to amplify it to everybody in the conservative movement. That's what I say. It is selectively enforced.
Yeah, but if he would have written this the other way around, let's say he's not a Jew, and
Cabot Phillips, they think they've got it, and now I'm canceled from the movement. So I took that, and of course they're expecting you to go out and apologize. They're expecting you to go out and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But I said, you know what? I'm not sorry, because this is a political attack. This is not some kind of good faith, because you said the comment is racist, and would I phrase it that way if I was saying it in an official public capacity? No. But we tend not to do those things when we think we're in private, in confidence. You kind of understand that there's some discretion there. And that's not to say that I'm, thought I could get away with it, but we don't speak in a lawyerly way when we're among friends.
Do you believe that? You don't believe that, though.
What, that it's degenerate?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's immoral. I don't know that I would say degenerate, but I would say it's contrary to my values.
How much are you saying that in that moment because you're trying to be a shock jock and you're trying to get attention?
I wasn't trying to be shock jock. Think about the question that was posed. Let's just back. I want to know what you think about this. We're in a private conversation. A girl takes her phone out, starts secretly recording, and says, "Is having sex with a black man the same as having sex with a dog?"
Did you know she was doing that or no?
I didn't know she
was. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, listen. You
gotta, what is that to you? That's a setup.
Nick, I'm talking to you in a way, as well as you saying it. I also think it needs to be like, listen, yeah, I mean, maybe he said this. I don't know his upbringing. I'm trying to find out mom, dad. I've seen some stuff with mom and what some of the stuff she said, and maybe it's the influence from grandma. It's not. It's Mark Levin. It's not like you had a racist person. I don't see that. But we also have to be a little bit forgiving, because if we don't and we stoke it more, you're going to get worse and worse and worse, right? The next person is going to want to get even more and more radical. Let's go past this one. If you don't mind.
I just want to say one thing,
please,
if I can, because I hear you and I agree with you, and I try to tell my followers now, I shake my head when my followers are trying to be edgy or edgelording, trolling, whatever. I totally agree, and I try to be a better role model now. And in politics, you do got to be careful what you say, because you're right, and everybody's always watching. The only reason I say that is to kind of paint a picture from my entire 18th year on Earth. I'm an 18-year-old college freshman. It's not like I was out here being problematic, being hateful, being a monster. It's that a decision was made that I had the wrong views. And because I had the wrong views, there was a basically ceaseless political attack, which is, I make a tweet about the double standard on Israel, and Shapiro's amplifying that. I have a show, and someone's calling my boss saying, get this guy fired. Maybe they're collaborating with the left to get me fired. Up to and including strangers that I don't even really know are secretly recording me, setting me up. The point is, they made a decision, this guy's got to go, and they said, we're going to use in a careless remark to take the guy out. So, people see, here's a guy that said a bad thing.
I don't support that.
And I'm not saying you do. I'm just explaining that's the side that a lot of people don't see. They see the bad remark. They don't see the calculation.
And that's why I'm having these questions with you. And by the way, I wish this podcast existed, because I don't know if there's one where someone's asking you for people to know, how did you become the way you became?
Exactly.
That's why I wanted to take this approach with you. But let me go here and hold you accountable a little bit. And again, feel free to push back. I'm comfortable with it. You're 27. You're no longer 18.
True.
So when you go a week ago and you're like, you don't need to do it. Here's why you don't need to do it. Dropping the N-word. Some of the words that you drop. I don't mind the F word, shit and all this stuff. I drop it all the time. I try not to drop it on camera, but I'm also not sitting here telling you I walk on water. And I say all the words, and I listen to hardcore hip hop. I listened to a lot of hardcore hip hop growing up. That was my taste of music. I don't know if it was yours. It was for me. For a person who knows how to communicate as well as you do, but we can transition back to this because I still want to know the history. Let's go back on what happened this week not this week, 12 days ago I think it is now. Charlie Kirk, right? And you know what clips are going viral with you. A month ago you're calling out, what do you call it, Turning Point USA, and I don't know what you said, but you said it. You know what it is. You can fill in the context on what you said, right? I'm not going to play the clip. But you were saying something. It's the clip where you're at the top and the other one's at the bottom, right? What you said before, and now it's like, hey, listen, Charlie was a Christian. He was trying to do this. You were very complimentary about Charlie. Okay. And Charlie Kirk got assassinated. Mm-hmm. And you've had death threats of people coming to your door, right? And things happening. How much has the last 12 days Because, at first they're like, well, it's Israel. You're like, no, it's not Israel. You're actually a person that I would have thought would have been the first to go there. You actually said, no, I'm not going there. Charlie, Nick is a Fed. All right. This person's CIA. All right. That kind of went away. Didn't have a long lifespan. It's gone. Hey, it's the Groypers that did it. It's your creek. It was out of the 13 questions, 11 were Groypers, whatever the number was. I may be wrong. I don't want to, don't fact check me on what the number is, but I read somewhere that a number of the people that asked the question were Groypers. Groypers asked me a question when I was at AMFIS, when the guy got up and said, how come you've never had Nicholas J. Fuentes on? And I said, he's got to stop saying the N-word. And this is when you kind of came back and reacted to the video. How are you processing this with Charlie Kirk? I've seen the tweets, I've seen the videos, but how are you processing this?
Well, on a personal level, it's terrifying, because he was out there and he got blown away doing what we all do, which is a public event or something like that. And of course, the same thing happened to me last year. Somebody came to my door with a gun while I was doing my show and tried to kill me. And so you realize we do really have a problem in the country with this kind of violence. That was kind of the first level. My first reaction is I didn't know if this was some lone nut job. Is there some kind of coordinated attack? If there would be copycats or something? But then on a deeper level, and people are calling me a hypocrite because I had complimentary things to say about Charlie, even though he was my adversary in politics. But I don't see it as a contradiction. I disagreed with him. I still disagree with the things he said. And my views on him from a professional point of view hasn't changed. What I have processed is the reaction to the killing from all of his fans and from people. You see that millions of people were touched by his activism. And I looked at his activism in a very one-dimensional way, which is that he's pro-Trump, he's pro-Republican, he's pushing the talking points. We would call it Talking Points USA. That was kind of the joke.
TPUSA Talking Points.
Right, Talking Points. His job is to go out there and sell, the party. But seeing the outpouring of support, I saw a lot of young people that were emotional. Young men, young women going to the vigils and actually distraught. And I think they were distraught, one, because it was so evil what was done to him. To see that kind of violence was really upsetting. But also I think people were touched because Charlie Kirk, it does put things in perspective when a person dies. I don't believe he was a bad man. I disagreed with him. I didn't like his politics. But what I have come to respect about him is that he was a very hard worker. He was kind. Or when bad things happen, and it's a challenge to kind of live every day thinking, could today be the day? And what did I do on my final day? How did I act? Did I tell the truth? Was I courageous? Was I kind? Not just to my friends and my family, but also to my enemies. So I think it brought people to the center a little bit, centered in a spiritual sense.
Did you at all watch it yesterday where you had moments of sitting there saying, this was a good guy, man. Shit, I wish I would have changed the approach with our relationship. Did you at all have that moment?
I don't know that I would have changed my approach because politics is vicious, and that's just the game. He was vicious to us. We were vicious to him. But I do think that I harshly judged him. I think when anybody dies, you feel that way. And I think especially since he died, you look at him and you realize this guy was not actually the worst guy in the world. He was kind of my nemesis in a way. And maybe I was his on the right wing. But I realized that we had so much more in common than we disagreed with, actually.
So do you think when you hear the statement, let's find a way to lower the temperatures, do you in your mind say, shut up with this lowering the temperature bullshit. Stop it. Lower the temperature. Do you know what's going to... Do you hear that message now and say, maybe we got to lower the temperature? Hey, maybe if I get all these young guys that are following me, how Christ-like am I being? What am I? This whole WWJD, I had a call with somebody 2 days ago. I won't mention the name, but also very talented and capable. Very. Person I believe in tremendously as well. And we also, have had a challenge. But I said, listen, every time as I'm going through this, and I'm out there, I took my kids. Everyone's like, don't take your kids to, what do you call it, the Charlie's and I said, no, I'm taking my kids. I believe in God. I have faith.
really made me beside myself is not necessarily that someone killed Kirk, because there's a lot of crazy people out here that unfortunately do carry out acts of violence. It was that there were like 100,000 liberals who are in their right mind that were celebrating, that were glib about it, that crashed vigils, that danced, that laughed, that mocked it, that said it was a good thing, he deserved it. And you realize that it is a battle between good and evil. And I don't believe that when you're fighting evil, you lower the intensity. I think that we must very intensely fight evil because we have to win. If we lose, and by we, I mean decent people, they're going to hurt us and they're going to destroy the things that we care about. So for me, it's not necessarily about intensity. Temperature, I would say intensity. I think we should all fight for what we believe in intensely every day. I would change it and say it's really a question of love and hate. It was a hateful action to kill Charlie Kirk. It's a hateful action to celebrate. I think that we should be intense, but we should also move in love. And what that means is, I said this on my show, people kill each other with bullets and literally murder each other and take their lives. We also kill each other by destroying each other's reputations. When we lie about somebody, when we gossip about somebody, when you go and actually do the examen of conscience at confession at a Catholic church, and you go through all the different sins, and you say, because you have to contemplate, you have to confess everything, every mortal sin, you have to confess all of it. So first you examine it systematically. Have I done this? Have I done that? And one of the violations of the commandment, thou shalt not kill, is gossip, detraction. It's attacking somebody with a lie. Because that's a form of killing somebody, in a certain sense. It's a form of damning somebody. And so I wouldn't say we need to lower the intensity, but we should always move in love. And by that, I don't mean some kind of like new age and move in love, very vague and non-specific. Totally. Yeah. But I mean, we should want what's good for everybody. We should will the good for us, and also even for our enemies too, and for the whole country. And so that's why I said my first reaction when I did my show, a lot of people said, well, we now got to go and kill two of theirs. They killed one of ours.
For many, many years, statistically. My question for you is, how is your approach going to change moving forward? Are you still planning on going all out, aggressive, because you said love and hate, right? Are you still trying to go with that part? Like yesterday, Trump said something, I don't know if you caught it, you probably caught it, when he said, I hate my enemies. I hate my enemies. I don't know, Erica's probably going to come talk to me afterwards, change my mind. You got to love the guy that he talks like that, right? You guys got a little bit of that similar style of things that you guys do. But I do think deep down inside he's loved today. I do think he's loved today. What's going to change about your approach? Anything, or are you planning on being the same?
To be honest with you, I don't think there's much that needs to change. I mean, we all have a battle that we fight every day, I mean, like you said, your first reaction when you saw him go down was vengeance. And,
no question.
And especially when you do a live show, so many of the things I've said that I regret or are unfortunate things, it's things that you get whipped up talking about something you're passionate about, and out of anger, something like that, you take it too far, you say something careless. And so, to the extent that it's a reminder of our mortality, I always try every day to keep it truthful, and to make sure that it's coming from the right place. I don't think we should be emotional. I don't think anger, and I agree with you, the chart that you showed, we shouldn't want to be angry. We should want to be prudent. We should want to be thoughtful, and we should want to act out of rationality as opposed to emotion. And so to the extent that Charlie Kirk died, how it affected me, I'm going to try harder to move in that way. But I think I've been tending in that direction for a long time.
Did he inspire you? Was there anything about him that inspired you?
Yes. The one thing that he inspired me about, because I did not like him when he was alive, I'll be honest with you. The one thing that inspired me is this guy was a workhorse. For 30 years, we bring in 2 or 3 million people per year. The foreign-born population has doubled. We brought in 50 to 60 million people since 1990. That's just too many people. And how I would distinguish it is that we're bringing in so many people that it's fundamentally altering what America is. You go to, like, Miami. Miami's like a Caribbean country. Like, it doesn't even feel like America. It feels more like Costa Rica or something. You go to New York, L.A., it doesn't feel like what America used to be, what America is distinctly. And that's what I have a problem with, that pretty soon everywhere it's going to be so diverse, linguistically, ethnically, religiously, that you can't even say America is anything. Like the mayor of Minneapolis. He's doing advertisements in Somalian. What is that?
Yeah, they had a cop. The cop badge is now in Arabic. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I think that's horrible.
What do you think about between the two communities, Muslim and Jews? Which one concerns you more?
Jews, for sure.
Tell me why.
More powerful. They're more powerful.
So more powerful in a way. You're talking the fact that they have money, finance, Hollywood. Is that what you're?
Yeah, they have more position in American society.
And how do you think they got that?
I think they got it because they are extremely connected. They're a transnational entity. You know, this is how the Rothschilds got started. Their superpower is that they live everywhere, and they have their Jewish identity supersedes their local identity. So a Jewish person in America or in Germany or in France or in the UK, they can all talk to each other and work together.
Do you think that's a bad thing?
Not in and of itself. It is detrimental for America, though.
Is it detrimental, though? Because, I'm a Syrian, right? Mm-hmm. And I wish Assyrians were more like this. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you why I relate to them. We don't have a country. Assyrians used to have a country. We used to be the first warriors. We were written about in the Bible. You read it all over the place. You know, the history we had, the things we invented. And then we became a little cocky. And God came in and was like, listen, man, relax, Assyrians. You ain't going to each other a little bit, not as much. And then Mormons have each other's back. Of course, there's a falling out as well where people come out and they'll talk about God makers or, what Gordon B. Hinckley. And I've read all of that stuff from over the years. But what's wrong with them winning at the highest level?
Well, I agree with you that it is remarkable, and it is actually ominous how much they've achieved. Here's the problem, though. America's an open society. You know, the premise of this country is it's self-government, of, by, for the people. There's a slight egalitarian idea that we are all citizens, and our government is going to be comprised of the citizenry of America. That's deeply embedded in who we are and in our government and our whole system. And take me, for example. I'm Italian, Mexican, and Irish. The Italians were very much like this when they immigrated to America. You know, they had in Chicago what they called the outfit, which was the mafia, and they looked out for each other. And when my grandfather died on my mom's side, I believe my grandmother got a loan from the outfit. And I just saw myself as American. And I think that, when you see Jewish people working together, I don't think there's anything wrong with that inherently. And I agree with you. It's like a superpower. It's actually admirable in some ways. They look out for each other. But if society becomes, American society in particular,
get out the rye bread and mustard, Grandma. We're one win away from the World Series. Colby, hit it. Up.
Well, we're the whites. We're the blacks. We're the Jews. Then I think what America is starts to come apart, and it turns into kind of like a bit of a politicized race war. And I think that you either have to have a society where everybody gets to play by those rules and everybody could be pro what they are, or everybody is assimilated and we're all Americans. And that's why I say it's detrimental, is that if Jewish people are Jewish first, not of, by, and for America, but of, by, and for the Jewish nation, this is problematic when they're in positions of power, because are they looking out for all of us, or are they looking out for themselves first? And when you look at the Israel policy, that's where people start to say, I think you're looking out for yourselves first. I think you're biased. And unfortunately, you're using the public purse and American soldiers to fight your own battles. And that's the problem. It's not, I don't have hatred for them. I don't have a problem with them in themselves or even what they do. It's just that with our system, that doesn't work.
You know what I would say to that as well? If they use the American soldiers in their advantage and all that other stuff. Okay. Who negotiated that deal? Some president negotiated that deal. Someone said yes to it, right? When they say, well, let me tell you, that person is afraid to platform this guy because he's afraid his donors are going to go and do this. And it's Israel's fault. No, it's not. It's the guy who runs it's not Israel's fault. What are you talking about? This guy sends me a message. AIPAC. I got a text. Not a text. What do you call it in the X? A DM I get from AIPAC. Okay? Hey, we'd like you to come to Israel. We'd like to invite you. I'm sure many people get that message, right? They send it. I said, I'm going to come with my pastor. I don't want you to pay for it. I'm going to pay for it. I want to bring my crew because I want to go see Jerusalem. You're not going to see me putting the what do they call it? I'm not going to put that on. But guess what? I respect the culture, and I want to go to Gaza, and I would ask for some idea of protection, that if we can go to Gaza, show it to her. I want to see this stuff. I want to go with my pastor. First time around, I'm not going to take my kids. Maybe the second, third time, I'll take my kids. But to me, I don't put the onus on, like when a guy's like, that guy has slept with so many people, this, and the girl said yes. No, but you don't understand. He's a man whore. But the girl said yes. So is it Israel or is it the girl? You understand what point I'm trying to make here?
Absolutely.
So to me, it's kind of like, I mean, look, if you said Israel over Muslims, right? Mm-hmm. Which of the two do you think has been a bigger net positive to America?
Oh, well, it has to be Israel, absolutely.
Okay, so a part about that part.
But, in terms of, I wouldn't say net positive. I would say in terms of raw, maybe like gross positive. Because they've had a lot of contributions culturally and even, in terms of art, literature, music, also scientifically. But it's difficult to say on that because I also think that there's quite a bit of a detriment. I think that the melting pot comes from the Jewish community.
What do you mean by that?
The idea of the melting pot, that comes from a Jewish playwright. Because Jewish people come to America, and like all immigrants, they say, well, we want America to be more welcoming. So they start to spin up these ideas that, well, America was never this country of white Christians. It's always been a melting pot for all immigrants. They want the country to be more open because that makes it more comfortable for them. It makes it more tolerant for them. But this has also made us more open and tolerant for Muslims, for example. We're bringing, who's been the biggest driver of like the Hart-Celler 65 Immigration Act? It was like the SPLC, which is run by Jewish lawyers. And so they're major drivers of mass migration. They're also major drivers of the pro-Israel politics, like the Iraq War. It was many Jewish journalists and pundits and advocates.
Sure.
So a point being is like when you calculate on net, and I agree with you, like I think there are a lot of people that are critical of Israel that are reluctant to acknowledge the good that Jews do. And I think that they're brilliant. Many of them are brilliant.
So when I'm saying net positive, I'm talking jobs, economy. How often you hear about crime, what they do. Like if you have a choice between living in a city in Minnesota, Dearborn, and living in, I don't know what's the biggest city. What's the city that Boca Raton, let's just say, right? If you have a choice between raising your family between Dearborn and Boca Raton, where do you choose?
Boca Raton,
okay,
of course,
so the point is like they go to a place. And by the way, to me, if that was Muslims, guess what? I would say Muslims. Mm-hmm. But statistically, wherever they live, it's safer, things are nicer, things get better.
I agree.
And that is one part to measure where they're at. Now, do I see them overly aggressive? Do I see them the type that are going to use politicians and buy them like Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people are saying? 100%. Do I see them, they're going to be there in everyone's DM and email saying, hey, we'd love to support you. We'd love to bring you to Israel and, doing all that stuff? It's obvious. I'm seeing it myself, okay? Do I look at that and shame them and say, oh, you shame on? I look at that and say, no, I wish Armenians would do that. I've never gotten an invitation from Prime Minister of Armenia. He should probably send me an invite to go there, right? It's not a bad idea to come and show the country. I'm Armenian. I'm a Syrian. Syrians don't have a country. It's probably a good idea. You don't see that. You wish others would do that. So for me, as much as when I go into that, by the way, I'll give you one other side that, Israel's going to be like, yeah. This other side to me is I actually do believe they leverage Mossad to get intel. I actually do believe they use blackmail. I actually do believe they do that. So, there's nothing going on with Epstein. No. Michael Wolff did a podcast with him 2 months ago. And when he was at Epstein's house, the 100 hours of recording that he has with him, I said, how many times was Ehud Barak there? Am I saying his name correctly? Barak.
Ehud Barak.
He said he was there many times. He saw Bill Gates there many times. Why would the former prime minister visit the guy 30-something times? Just because the conversation's great? That's a little bit suspect, right? So to me, I'll go there, but I'll go the other end. So what I'm trying to do, like if you're wondering what my role is here, okay? My role is I want to continue talking to you. I want us to do many of these together as we go through whatever journey we go through next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I'd like you to be around 60 years from now to see whatever you want to do. And let's see what your ideas are going to land and what they're going to go through. I'm sure as we all age, some of them get better, some of them get sharper. Maybe this used to be a number one to us at 26. Maybe it's going to be number 6 when we're 46. Maybe this used to be number 11 when we're 26. Now it's number 2 when we're 52. Who knows? Life changes. You evolve, right? You're just watching Trump in the last 10 years change. He's not the same. Just the way he does his speaking. I was watching him speak yesterday, and the way he's doing press conference. A very different guy on where he's at. And it's not like he's tired and he's not working. You said him and Charlie Kirk, the Protestant, workers thing that they have. It's not that. I just see his going through it himself. I would like people on both sides to not be like, oh my God, he just said Nick Fuentes on. That's it. No, you don't control me. I want to talk to you. Oh my God, he brought Cuomo and he did this. Dude, Cuomo, we orchestrated a conversation with him and Dave Smith. It was great. And we had Chris Cuomo and Candace speak. It was great. They gave their arguments. And Chris said some things about, people don't need IDs to vote. I don't agree with that. But guess what? At least we had the conversation, right? I'll sit with Wiener. I'll sit with you. I'll sit with, let me tell you, I got a lot of death threats after having BB on. And I had 3 outcomes with BB, right? To me, it was very simple what I wanted to get. I wish I had 2 hours with the guy, but it was a short time. But I guess maybe the final thing that I want to get before we wrap up is, do you mind in a 3 to 5 minute part, finish up that part on when we were going through with you and Cassie and Media Matters and Leadership Institute and Reagan Battalion and the video that we were talking about. Do you mind going past that a little bit?
Yeah.
And maybe let's finish that story and then we'll wrap up the podcast.
Sure. So, then I went to Charlottesville. And just for context, I wasn't at the Tiki Torch event. I got there actually the next day. And by the time I got to the actual thing, they had already shut it down. So I got blamed for being there, even though technically I wasn't even really there. But so I went there. Because of that, I got fired from RSBN. They let me go after that. That's when I started doing my show independently. And, kind of the rest was history. But I started doing it independently. And I guess the next big saga was my interaction with Charlie Kirk, which is where my followers were going to his events. This was in autumn 2019. And they were asking him, why are you Israel first? And why do you support mass legal migration? And why are you so tolerant towards some of the LGBT stuff? He was very pro-gay at that time and other things. And that was really where I put myself on the map which was with the Groyper War, where we were kind of challenging and pushing back on him. And ever since then, I guess I've been the kind of underground counterweight to these more establishment GOP people. And it's sort of interesting over the years how this has evolved, my relationship with Trump, with Charlie Kirk. These are kind of the standard bearers of conservatism in this day and age. And I guess I'm just the story of the congenital, the archetypal young white male of the Trump era. The young white male, extremely online, very political, disaffected, disillusioned, that has just kind of been following all these things to their reasonable conclusion. And it's interesting how that's changed over 10 years. I mean, it's been such a long time I've done it. But yeah, that was sort of kind of the next part in that saga. But as you know, it's a very long story. So
yes, it is. And I see a bunch of stuff going on with you guys, all the names, everybody going back. I've watched the clips. We react to some of them here on the podcast. If you see us when we react to it, and you're always making noise. So you're we have to react to it. Your sense of humor is, let me tell you, you have that sense of humor and the wit. It's a secret weapon, because you can have all the brains you want. You can be a very good communicator, but if you don't have that funny sense of humor side, that is a secret weapon that can't be taught. You can go take all the Udemy classes. You can go to Harvard, Yale. You can go to whatever courses you want to go take. You can study everything about the Constitution. Know every word better than anybody. The Federalist Paper, you can recite it. The Bible, all of it. You don't have a sense of humor? And you're sarcastic, you're a troll, you got all of that. So it's great for camera.
yes.
But Nick, I really appreciate you coming out. I got respect for you that you paid for it yourself. Allow me to pay for you next time if you come out. You don't have to worry about the driving. Let us at least take care of your flight. But I look forward to many more conversations that we have together. This was actually, when people say, what do you think is going to happen? I think we're going to have a great conversation. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a great conversation.
I'm glad to hear it.
Anytime.
Thank
Appreciate
you, man.
buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Friday, October 17th, 2025. This is Titan Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. And as always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, we have a Patreon called Control the Zone, where we talk Mariners, Seahawks, all that good stuff. For more information, go to patreon.com/Control the Zone. Link in the description. The Mariners are the closest they've ever been to the World Series. Their 6-2 comeback win over the Blue Jays tonight gives them a 3-2 lead in the ALCS. Eugenio Suarez drives in 5 of the 6 Mariners runs on 2 massive swings of the bat, including his game-winning grand slam in the bottom of the 8th. We'll talk about that huge moment. We'll talk about Bryce Miller's start and the rest of the pitching. We saw Brian Wu appear in this one finally, and we'll also talk about how the Mariners are going to approach these final 2, hopefully 1, but 2 games as they look to secure their first ever trip to the World Series. They're going to have to do so in Toronto either on Sunday or Monday. But let's talk about this one, Colby. Let's just start here. Eugenio Suarez's grand slam, biggest hit in T-Mobile Park history.
It's up there. I mean, like the drought ender is certainly up there as well. Obviously, the double took place in the Kingdome, so really does feel like a 2-horse race. I can't possibly think of any. I guess Polo's walk-off single in the ALDS is probably up there as well. So
yeah,
but yeah, I think probably that one. And I guess technically Cal Raleigh's game-tying home run is also probably in the top 5 or so. So yeah, a lot of really cool moments happening at T-Mobile Park. After just 2 dreadful efforts by this ball club at home in front of their fans. And, tonight they send them home with really good vibes, and, we'll see. They might have at least 2 more home games to, play in front of these guys and right some of the wrongs. But if not, this is a heck of a send-off, and it, of course, it comes from Eugenio Suarez, the king of good vibes, who has produced a lot of really bad vibes, particularly in this playoff run and in these playoffs. And tonight he came through in a big way. So yeah, I would say, I think it probably is either the grand slam or it's Cal's, drought ending home run. But I think it's fair to say that 3 of the 4 biggest hits have happened, in, this playoff run. And, at least 2 of the 4 are from Cal Raleigh. So it's pretty cool to see all this good stuff happening right in front of us. But this job's not finished. 1 win away.
Yep.
And it's going to be tough. There's no question about it, but I'm excited to watch it. And I really hope they get this thing done.
Yeah. So this offense looked pretty lifeless outside of Gino's solo home run against Kevin Gausman and this Blue Jays pitching staff. But, once you got Gausman out of the game and Louis Varland came in, and he's really the only guy that I truly worry about in this Blue Jays bullpen. And, you start doing the math and you go, well, Varland's not going to be able to pitch this whole game.
Mm-hmm.
So someone else is going to have to come out of that Blue Jays bullpen. And lo and behold, down to your final 6 outs, here comes Brendan Little, and Cal Raleigh immediately makes John Schneider pay for going to Little by depositing an absolute moonshot into Eggers Cantina.
Roof scraper.
The biggest of all of his big swings this year so far, and hopefully there's even bigger ones to come. But that knocks the game up at 2 apiece. Little walks the next 2 guys. He's out of the game. Sir Anthony Dominguez comes in. He hits Randy Arozarena, loads the bases, and in steps Eugenio Suarez nobody out, bases loaded, and I couldn't bear to watch because Gino obviously had the really nice swing for his solo home run earlier today, but we've seen him strike out so much since they've reacquired him. We've seen him struggle so much at T-Mobile Park specifically since they reacquired him. I just couldn't shake the feeling that I was going to see Gino strike out and then JP hit into a double play or something like that, and we were going to do the whole extra innings thing. So what I did was I turned off the TV broadcast and I turned on the radio broadcast with Rick and Aaron and Gary.
Coward.
And just kind of like kept my head down, listening in my earbuds. And then I hear the crack of the bat. I hear the crowd start to erupt, and I hear Rick deliver Dave's famous words. And it was like that moment in Moneyball where Brad Pitt, his head comes up. You know the one that I'm talking about.
Ty's comparing himself to Brad Pitt right now. That's what's happening.
In more ways than one.
Yeah.
We're both equally attractive.
Ty's Brad Pitt, sure, whatever.
That's right.
Are you comparing Gino Suarez to Chris Pratt then? Is that what we're doing?
Sure. Ooh. Gino's new nickname is Star-Lord.
Let's go.
There are worse nicknames to have. Yeah. But Gino again, obviously came up huge. I mean, you absolutely needed him, and that's why you make that trade 100 times out of 100, even when it was rough. Like, we're not going to sit here and tell you the Gino Suarez trade, was a huge win for the Mariners before tonight. Like, he really struggled when he returned here, and he had some moments, but nothing like this. But that's exactly why you bring that guy in, because he can do things like this, and there's just not a lot of guys out there who can do that. So it's just one of those things where it's worth it. You have to sit through a lot of garbage. When you have Eugenio Suarez, he'll take a lot of bad at-bats, and he's going to strike out a lot, and he's going to look terrible for weeks on end. But when you get it good, when you get good Gino, like, it can literally win you ball games. And tonight it won you the biggest game in franchise history, and until Sunday. Yeah, it really is. That's why you go out, you make the trade, and it is pretty fitting. The best hitter on the Mariners team this series has been Josh Naylor. Most consistent, it's Naylor. The guy who just won you the most important game in Mariners history is Eugenio Suarez. So, again, I do think that we should give some love.
goddamn chat. Oh my fucking God, I hate the left. I can't stand ism within me, okay? I am black-pilled. Nothing will ever get better. We are never going to make it out.
I'm going down Canton.
You guys do your homework? Hey, fellas! You want to know what time I woke up this morning? What time? Around 6, 7. 6, 7! Oh, hey, Annie, ladies. Did you guys do your homework last night? I tried to, but I got stuck on problem 6 and 7. 6, 7! Hey, Eric!
I know about hers, I know. Don't do it to me. It's too funny.
But I just did a 6, 7 with Annie and Megan at the same time!
Yeah, 5 minutes ago I snuck up on Wendy and totally 6-7'd her from behind.
Wow!
Hey, Scott, how's your diabetes, man?
My diabetes?
Yeah, what's your A1C at?
6 point something! 6, 7!
Oh my God! So fucking funny!
All right, everyone, listen up. I've gotten a lot of reports of disruptions in the classroom and some satanic numerology shit going on. So I want to remind you, this is a Power Christian school, and I am a Power Christian principal, and we will be PC. So now I want you to hear from someone who is the highest authority on biblical prophecies. This person is an absolute expert on the end of days and the coming of the Antichrist. Please welcome Mr. Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel knows about the Antichrist. Peter Thiel knows about the Antichrist.
I'm Peter Thiel and I know about the Antichrist.
Let's learn about the Antichrist today.
Hello kids, I'm Peter Thiel and I'm here to talk to you about the Antichrist. Okay, so first, what is the Antichrist? The Antichrist is a newer, more human form of Satan that will soon walk the earth. We don't know how soon it will walk the earth, but it could be within the next 6 to 7 weeks.
6, 7!
Okay. You see, Satan was a fallen angel, and God punished him. And to make sure Satan could never have offspring, the Lord God did shrink Satan's asshole to the size of a tiny little pinhole, so nothing could ever penetrate and ejaculate inside of it. So Satan could never have a butt baby until along came Mr. Donald Trump, whose penis is so teeny tiny it could actually fit in Satan's asshole. How small is Donald Trump's penis? Somewhere between 6 and 7 centimeters.
6, 7!
Hey, look, this is very important, people, okay? The Antichrist is coming. The Bible refers to the eagle, which refers to America, the fourth seal broken and hell coming to earth. It's right here in Revelation 6, 7.
Good, and breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. In 2, 3, 4, and exhale 2, 3, 4. Good, let your shoulders soften, let your jaw relax. Now, gentle pressure on the hips as your partner exhales. Good. And
I can.
Here in 10.
There he is?
Oh, yes. How unfortunate that some babies will not be able to be born. As Christians, we can't allow this to continue. Perhaps you should go speak with this abortion doctor personally.
Yeah.
Come in. PC Principal, do you have a minute?
Sure, Jesus. What do you need?
I'm starting to wonder if I really fit in here.
Of course you fit in. This school has been a cesspool of heathen left-wing little bitches, and only our faith is going to set them right.
Could I ask exactly what branch of Christianity are you?
The kind that loves his country and doesn't tolerate any fucking fags.
Yeah, see, I really think I don't belong here.
Look, I understand it's a tough transition. You know, the vice principal here had the same conflict as you, but she's really come around.
The vice principal? Your wife?
That's right. Can you send in a strong Christian woman, please? She was saying this wasn't the place for her anymore, but just this last weekend, she converted to Christianity.
You wanted to see me?
Yeah, strong Christian woman. I was just telling Jesus here about our faith.
Oh, yes, it's been such a blessing.
She converted on Saturday. What do you think, huh? You ever seen a more Christian chick in your fucking life?
Never.
Look, I know it's a hard adjustment, but just stick with it, and you're gonna fit in here just fine, Jesus.
Everything go good at school today, honey?
Yep. School was good. School was pretty good.
Is everything okay, honey?
Yeah, everything's fine. It's fine. Mom, can I ask you something?
Sure, Eric.
Do you know on average, at what age kids lose their baby teeth?
Oh, I'm not sure, Eric. I guess usually around 6, 7? Eric, what?
No, nothing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just thinking about your menstrual cycle.
My menstrual cycle?
Yeah, I was just wondering when you actually menstruate, ma'am. Like roughly, how many days does that last?
Well, Eric, it's usually around 6 to 7 days that a woman... Eric, sweetie? Eric, what is going on? This keeps happening.
Mom, you gotta tell me something.
Of course, honey.
Roughly how many nights have I been throwing up at dinner?
I don't know, Eric. It's probably been 6 or 7 nights.
Hey, Jesus, get your stuff, man. We're going out for drinks.
What?
Look, I know it's been hard for you trying to adjust here and everything. So the wife and I were talking, and we found a nice Christian lady we're going to set you up with.
Oh, I don't think so. Thanks, but...
Oh, come on, man. She's a really great woman, and she just converted to Christianity. My wife met her at the same place that she became Christian.
So then I was like, you know what? I need a new direction in my life. It's like I just got so sick of everyone being such a pussy all the time, and all this woke garbage and women trying to be men. So I just started reading the Bible, you know? I mean,